is just the latest powerful media figure to be accused of abusing his power. Yana Golodriga reports.
Welcome to Today, and Hoda's here with me this morning because this is a sad morning here at Today and at NBC News.
A visibly shaken Savannah Guthrie broke the news only moments after learning it herself. Her co-host Matt Lauer had been fired over allegations of sexual misconduct.
You know, for the moment, all we can say is that we are heartbroken.
NBC Chairman Andy Lack made the decision after an hours-long meeting with an NBC staffer and her attorney, where she reportedly detailed egregious acts of sexual harassment and misconduct by Lauer through 2014. Later this afternoon, both the New York Times and Variety magazine reported the incidents with the staffer began at the Sochi Olympics. They go on to report additional cases of sexual misconduct by Lauer, including exposing himself and sending explicit text messages. NBC reported today because of the seriousness of the accusations, together with information that it may not be an isolated incident, NBC decided to terminate Lauer's contract.
NBC is absolutely reeling.
Media reporter Jim Ruttenberg broke the story for the New York Times.
You really can't understate how big a deal this is for NBC. Today is the franchise. Matt Lauer is their biggest star. It finances a lot of their news division.
I have a sickening feeling of deja vu.
Just last week, CBS This Morning co-host Charlie Rose was fired after the Washington Post revealed 8 allegations of sexual misconduct at his PBS-sponsored talk show. CBS News independently identified 4 women at CBS who also say Rose acted inappropriately.
We're very excited to be celebrating you, Matt.
Lauer, a 59-year-old married father of 3, was the longest-standing co-host at the Today Show. He recently sat down with former Fox anchor Bill O'Reilly, himself accused of sexual harassment.
You were the guy that the ratings and the revenues were built on. You carried that network on your shoulders.
What makes it even more surreal is that both men, Matt Lauer in particular, covered this very topic that led to their firing.
And that footage now will wallpaper the coverage, so that legacy is cooked.
NBC News Chairman Andy Lack said this was the first complaint about Lauer's behavior in over 20 years at the company. CBS News reached out to NBC and Lauer and have yet to hear back. Elaine?
Biana, thank you. Hours after Matt Lauer's firing was made public, Variety published an article about the Today Show co-host, which the magazine said it had been working on for months. In it, Variety says it spoke with a number of women who identified themselves as victims of sexual harassment by Lauer. Debra Birnbaum is Variety's executive editor of TV and joins me now. Debra, Variety had been working on this story for a couple of months before Matt Lauer was fired. Do you know when these stories began to emerge?
I think it was in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein news breaking when other women began to feel encouraged to come forward and share their stories. We were getting bombarded from tips with lots of names out there, and Matt Lauer was one of the names that came forward, and we've been reporting it out ever since.
Well, NBC said in a statement that the complaint it received was the first in the time that Lauer had worked there, but multiple women have spoken with Variety. Why do you think it was so difficult for women to speak out against what was happening?
Matt Lauer couldn't have been in a higher position of power at NBC and at the Today Show. He was clearly the face of the network, and the Today Show couldn't have been more important to the network. So when I think if you think about what it means for someone in a position of power to be taking advantage of others, you can just look at Matt Lauer for that. And I think you can understand why the women felt like they couldn't come forward without facing repercussions for their career.
Well, the Today Show was presented as a family that other Americans wake up with every morning. Could you put into perspective how significant Matt Lauer's firing is, not only for Today, but for the entire media landscape?
It's so significant. I think about my own experiences. I'm from New York, and I grew up watching Matt Lauer, for the last 20 years host of the Today Show, even when he was doing local news. So this is really seismic. I mean, I think we've certainly seen that with all of the stories that have come forward, from Harvey Weinstein to Jeffrey Tambor to Louis C.K. It's a long, very sad, depressing list. But I think when it comes to the news media, and we're seeing stories like Matt Lauer and Charlie Rose, you're recognizing that the news media is not immune from this, and it's going to have repercussions for years to come.
Now, the reckoning continues. Debra Birnbaum, thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Late Wednesday, NBC News did respond to the Variety story. A spokesperson told CBS News, quote, "We can say unequivocally that prior to Monday night, current NBC News management was never made aware of any complaints about Matt Lauer's conduct. Radio personality Garrison Keillor has been fired from Minnesota Public Radio over allegations of improper behavior. Keillor retired as host of the long-running program A Prairie Home Companion